Hello, welcome. I'm Nick
And I'm Tony.
from Top Notch Sports, and today we're going to be going over Survivor Fire and Flint podcast. That's their new name. What do you think, Tony? Fire and Flint podcast. I
The
think it's great.
Fire and Flint podcast. Now it sounds better than how you said it that way.
Yeah, the Fire and Flint podcast. Tony, welcome in. First time you're back in a while. Welcome. Glad to have you back. Where's the
Yeah.
Survivor for Noah?
Where's Noah and Dom, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
where are they at?
You join and now they leave. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Can we have the full crew on for once?
And next week I'll leave and they'll show up. Yep.
Damn right. Damn right. That's what's going to happen. All right. A lot happened on episode 4. I think this may be my favorite episode. What do you think?
No, by far it was the best one. It was very intriguing for what went down.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot that happens. I believe this is first, and I think the first episode was 1. I believe episode 2 was 3, and episode 2 was 4. So I feel like, it was kind of a little bit backwards. But this episode, in my opinion, was the best episode. Episode 1 was great too, for sure. But again, so real fast, before we even hop into this, I want to mention this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this podcast, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be covering Survivor. If you want to come on here and talk Survivor with us, you're more than welcome. And not only that, okay, we want to also point this out. We are going to be the #1 Survivor podcast by the time it's all said and done. This is only our, 4th video? I'm telling you, then nobody has a charisma that we do. And I'm hoping that, we can work tightly with some of the contestants eventually here. So again, I really hope that we can work with some of these guys. It would just be awesome. But again, we'll see what happens. We're too small right now. But Jeff, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, man, Jeff Probst, you are amazing. You're amazing. I love it. Survivor wouldn't be the same without you. And again, it's just, man, Tony, I would love to talk to Jeff. Wouldn't you love to talk to Jeff?
Oh, I would love to talk to Jeff. Jeff seems like a nice guy.
Just a nice guy. Just a nice guy. All right. Enough with that. Now let's talk about the highlights of the episode. But first, let's go into our intro. All right, we are back. How was that intro? All right, here we go.
Lovely.
Soka. To start off the episode, Josh feels great, right? In Soka. He feels like he's in the middle between that tribe. He's the swinging vote after they voted off Claire on the last episode, in Soka. He believes that he could be the deciding factor right now, and he's just rubbing his hands. He's all happy. What do you think? Was Josh in a great position to start this episode?
Oh, he definitely was. It was like he said, it was him, and then he had 4 other people who also had ties together. So with him being the odd number, he knew that if anything had to happen, he could persuade one group to go after one of the other people in the other group. So he definitely was in a great position.
Absolutely. As long as they didn't want to vote him out, and they would attack each other. I mean, again, Matt and Franny, remember when we were talking about Matt and Franny being possibly targeted because of their relationship?
Yeah.
What happened to that? There's not even a target of that on this episode. So again, there's still a target, and maybe Josh could have got them voted out, or maybe he could have got, someone like Danny voted out. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it is interesting that you mentioned that. They didn't talk about the old Matt and Franny relationship thing going on between the two of them, because the past 3 episodes, all they've been talking about, for that tribe at least, with Matt and Franny being a big target for Soka. And again, they didn't mention it in this episode. Josh felt good because I'd assume he'd probably work with Danny and Heidi to try to split the other two up, Matt and Franny. If I had to guess, that's where he was going to go with it. So I don't know. We'll never know what will happen then.
I know, and that's what I love about Survivor. You never truly know. So that's Soka then. All right, that's Soka. Now we got to think about Tika. Okay, Tika's been falling apart. I love Tika. Carolyn, Carson, Jam, and Sarah. I liked Helen too, but Helen got voted out. And Bruce.
Bruce, poor Bruce.
And poor Bruce, man, smashed his head. So, Tika, so anyway, Carolyn decides to place red sticks inside the bird cage, and she has them going a little bit of a terror. What are these red sticks? Now, Tony, these things look like two red. They were like this. Inside. They don't
Yeah,
look great, man. But then she places two red
no.
sticks by the log, and Sarah finds these red sticks. So she starts digging in the sand, digging in the sand, digging in the sand. Sarah finds a hidden immunity idol. She thinks it's not.
Mhm.
Carolyn places
Yep.
a hidden immunity idol for Sarah to find. What do you think about Carolyn doing this? And what do you think about Sarah finding this?
Well, I mean, smart for Carolyn because obviously we seen, I think it was episode 2 when she eventually got into the birdcage. She ran away with the whole entire bag, and then it finally clicked in her head. She was like, "Oh shoot, I gotta put that back and make it seem like no one took it." So she obviously put it back, but then the rest of them noticed, "Hey, that was opened." I think it was that tribe
Yeah,
was another one.
Carson. Yep.
Yeah, Carson was like, "Someone opened this." So then they had like a whole meeting trying to figure out who had it or whatever. For some reason, they never thought it would be Carolyn, which
Never.
obviously, if I was them, I wouldn't have thought it was her either. But so obviously, this past episode, she decided, hey, I'm going to fix my issue and try to like gear them off in a way, you know. So I mean, hey, that's smart on her for doing that. And then Sarah, obviously, again, finding it great for her, but again, it's not real. So it's just kind of like for her, it was like a momentum and like not momentum boost, but it was like a
A morale booster.
morale booster. There we go. It was just made her feel better, you know.
Yeah. But it was a
Fun.
safe sense of security. So
Yeah.
Carolyn's a damn genius. She sets this up
Hmm.
all right. Good for Carolyn. Now let's see what happens to the rest of the episode. So now they go to a challenge, a rewards challenge. We get to see 2 in this episode. I like 2 challenges. They've
Oh
got
yeah.
that. Okay, rewards challenge. If you win, you get, I forget what they got. They got
A
something.
tarp. There was the
Tarp.
first place got a giant tarp, and the second place got a small tarp.
Yep. And
And then
then the
third
winner
place
got to
loses their
choose.
yeah, and then the winner got to choose one person for each tribe to go on a journey.
Yeah, which is supposed to be an advantage, supposedly. So in this
Yeah.
challenge, Soka and Ratu, I wouldn't say dominate, but they dominate because Tika once again falls apart. You got Carson running
Yep.
up the thing. Carson gets up there, smart kid, calculates the right angle, boom, shoots it, hits it. Good. Now they send
Yep.
up Carolyn. Carolyn goes up the thing. You got Danny going, you got Brandon going, you got Lauren going, you got everybody going. Even Matt, who got the dislocated shoulder, goes. Now
Yeah.
you got Carolyn go, shoots it, boop, nowhere. Doesn't go, the catapult doesn't hit anything.
Yeah.
Goes again, boop, nowhere. Screaming and stuff. Just watching Carolyn's fun to watch. Not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Finally, she hits it. And by the time she hit it, I think or Sarah might have went up, got one, and then Jamjin didn't even get to climb up before everybody finished. Soka wins. Ratu also wins. They play second. Tika doesn't win. They get no reward. And now Soka got to decide on who they want to send to this journey. Now, go ahead. I'll let you pick up here. Who do they decide, Tony?
So they decide for Tika that it'll be Carson. So Carson for Tika goes on a journey. Jamie for Rat 2 goes on a journey. And then Josh for Soka goes on a journey.
Absolutely.
So it was almost like that one journey they did in the earlier episodes where remember the 3 go off and then that time it was actually an advantage in a way. They got the pick and either they lost their vote or they got an extra vote for the next tribal council they were at. Well, this time around, the 3 show up on the island. They take their own paths like before. But instead, now this time, they have to reach into a bag and they get a new team. So pretty much what happened is then Josh goes to Tika, Jamie goes to Soka, and Carson goes to Ratu.
But
And
they
it
did
just,
get a
you know,
small advantage. They get
they
a
did.
hidden immunity idol.
That is right. I forgot about that part.
And remember, though, I believe it says that it expires before the merge, basically. I think that was a hint.
Expires.
So they
Yep.
reached in, like you said. They grab the thing, and it says, you want to hit an immunity idol. But now you got to change teams. And now they got to change teams. Like you said, Carson ends up going to Ratu. Jamie goes to Soka. Josh goes to Tika. All right. Now Josh's great position no longer exists. So Tika, like I said, Josh joins Tika. They distrust him because, they're talking to him and he says, they ask him if he was a surgeon and he says no. But they remember him saying in an earlier challenge that he had steady hands. So, and now he's saying he's a physical therapist. And they go over his history of his education. It just doesn't add up for his whole story. Then Carson
I think
goes,
it was a personal trainer, if I'm right.
Yeah. Then there's Carson that goes to Rat 2. He throws Jam and Carolyn under the bus. He says that they're, very tight people right there, which we find out later on that they're really not. And Matt, Matt goes and says, I got to make a relationship now with Carson because a person I didn't make a relationship with, and Jamie, right? Remember Plant Daddy and Plant Mommy? Remember that?
Yeah.
And also he gave her a fake idol and they were a great connection. Well, now it gets split apart. So now he's like, I got to get somebody else under my wing. So he goes and he tells Carson that, that Jamie, doesn't, she has an idol supposedly, but she's no longer with us. And he says that Brandon previously used the idol, so he no longer has it. So now, knowledge is power, and now Carson believes he has power and he can trust Matt. So Matt now rekindles a relationship, or he gets a relationship with Carson. So Matt's feeling all right. Carson's doing all right. Soka, Jamie goes to Soka. And now Danny, when Jamie's away, one of your favorite characters, go back and watch your first episode. Tell him what he does.
So what happens is Jamie walks away. Danny doesn't trust her, thinks she has an immunity idol or two in her bag. Well, he decides, all right, we're going to dump her bag out and steal around and try to figure out if she has something on her or not. There's nothing in the bag, from what I remember. They didn't find anything. So then they said maybe it's on her, like her personal body, So there's that. So Danny already doesn't trust Jamie for some odd reason in a way, but I get it, she's a new person on the tribe. So it's one of those things where it's like I think all the tribes are feeling this way when they got the new kid, not the new kid, the new tribe member. They all kind of felt like, all right, well, we go to tribal council since we don't know them, they're easy to get off, So it's kind of what Danny's kind of mindset is right now.
Yeah, that's that. So then, all right, so now we go to the challenge. And again, Jamie's kind of being left out of that Soka tribe. We get to the challenge. Okay. Now this is for, safety, right? This is how, if whoever loses goes to tribal council.
Yeah, now this one's the immunity challenge. Yep.
Yeah. So this is a big one. Okay. And, so it's going to start off by them having to, I believe it was like swim, then run and jump off this platform 30 feet in the air, grab this bag out of the air, swim to the platform, swim again, go through a balance beam, get to the end, and then they got to do a puzzle once everyone gets there. So it starts. And the biggest first thing that happens is Ratu's going, Lauren jumps, misses the bag, and she decides rather than, going back and doing it herself, she swims to the end. Now, Brandon, who just got done doing it, needs to swim all the way back, grab for her, and get all the way to the end. Oh, my mama mia. Tell me that isn't a killer. That slowed them down by a mile and a half.
Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah.
So Lauren, that was huge. So Brandon had to do it twice. That takes out a lot of energy. Soka, Ratu for the most part do pretty well. Now we go down. Ratu makes up time. Brandon gets them back into it. And Soka, as always, looking very good. They're ahead again, even with the tribe swap with Jamie. They're ahead. All right. Here goes now. Remember, Purple has a pretty dang good lead. Carolyn's looking good. Everyone's looking good. Sarah's looking good. Josh looking good. Jam's time to go through the balance beam. Oh man. He let Ratu catch up by a mile and a half. I believe it took him 3 or 4 times to get it. He just kept crawling on the balance beam.
Yeah. At that point, it was a fight between him and Kane. He was, Kane on Ratu. They both were just, instead of trying to walk normally, they were trying to do a catwalk across it, and they just kept falling off.
Yep. Finally, Jam gets across.
First, yeah. So they already got a head start right there.
They got a head start now, but now they no longer have Carson, who's really smart with puzzles. Soka's
Mhm.
already working on it. Now Kane finally gets across. All right, now it's a battle of the puzzles. Soka already has a huge head start. Boom, they get done. Yet Carson and who else was the other one over there? Was it Lauren maybe working on Ratu? And then for Tika, it was I know it was Josh and somebody else. I'm forgetting who else it was for there. Had to be Josh and maybe Sarah, I think it was. And there were, or maybe Jam Jam or so. I don't remember. But they start
Yeah,
plugging
it was Carson and Lauren, and then Josh and Sarah. Yep.
there. Yeah. So they're starting to try to pound these puzzles in. Carson gets one in. Jam Jam gets one in, or whoever over there. Carson gets one in. The other one gets one in. Lauren gets one in. Back and forth. Back. Such a tight race, Tony. I started getting agita. I started almost throwing out. How did you feel with that? That was close. It was. I mean, I like Jam Jam. I like Carolyn. You know, and I like Carson. I like
Oh,
Brandon. I like Matt. I like Kane. So I didn't want to see either of them go home. So what were you feeling in that moment? Who did you want to see win? And I mean, wasn't it tight?
it was tight. I was more in shock that Tika blew it like that. They had that lead. They got there first. They were working on it first while Kane was still slipping off the balance beam.
Yep.
So for Ratu to come in and catch up and still beat them, Tika still having 6 pieces left to put into the puzzle is just, in my opinion, insane.
Absolutely. All right. So we got to speed this up because we're almost done with this video now. All right. Here's this. Ultimately, Ratu gets it done. Tika is going to tribal council again. Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay. They go
I think
back.
it's a third out of the 4 episodes.
Exactly. So now we start to see that there's some fighting between Carolyn and Jam Jam. I didn't know about this previously. I don't think anybody did. And they sort of want to say, oh, well, we're going to tell Josh to vote for you, Carolyn, just, and we're going to vote out Josh, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, Josh tells Carolyn that he has a hidden immunity idol and he'll even play it for Carolyn. This was Josh's, big party. Am I like
Yeah.
promotion? I like Josh after this. He said he was willing to do that. He was willing to work with Carolyn, etc., etc. Ultimately, they go to tribal council, and Jam Jam slips and says something about Felicia. Carolyn says, I'm Felicia, and blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. So they're all talking about Felicia this, Felicia that. Jam Jam and Carolyn start to get into it. I'm like, please don't go, Carolyn. Please don't go, Jam Jam. I'm like, please. I'm like, Carolyn, play your idol. Play your idol. You're going to get voted out. She doesn't play her idol. Josh plays his idol for himself. All right,
Mhm.
what's going to happen? Everybody in my household was like, Carolyn's done. She's going to lose. Why didn't she play it? 1 vote, Josh. 2 votes, Josh. They don't count. 1 vote, Sarah. Person going home, Sarah. 2 votes, Sarah. Oh my God. And Sarah thinks that she went home with an idol. She doesn't even know that it was Carolyn's fake idol. So she thinks that she didn't play it, but she really never had one. Oh my God. What a move by Carolyn to not use her idol, to let Josh use his idol, and to still pull the shots. She made her get home with a fake idol. Carolyn's a damn genius. What do you think about Carolyn? She's a damn, I'm sorry. She didn't use her idol. This is the second time I thought she should use her idol. She didn't use it. She walks away fine. What do you think?
Yeah, I personally didn't think it was gonna be Carolyn because Sarah and Yam Yam were really big on getting Josh,
Yep.
and Josh told Carolyn to vote for Sarah. So I was just worried that for some reason, since Carolyn and Yam Yam were having an argument, I thought in that moment at the tribal council, Carolyn was gonna listen to Josh and she was gonna vote Yam Yam. Josh still votes for Sarah. Well, Sarah and Yam Yam voted for Josh, so it would have been a tie, and then they would have to re-vote. And then
Yeah.
unfortunately at that point, Josh probably would have been gone.
Yeah.
But it's I was more worried about Yam Yam than Carolyn for a
Yeah.
minute because because I totally forgot that Sarah's immunity idol was fake at the moment during the tribal council. So I thought she was going to use hers on herself too, and since her votes then wouldn't count, Yam Yam was going to be gone if Carolyn voted for him. But obviously, you just said how it played out.
So let's do this then real fast. Predictions for next week. Who gets voted off? Who do you think? Let's start with Tika.
I'm gonna place a solid like bet that Tika's going back to tribal council. I think that's a safe bet to say that the team of 3 is going back there. So I'm gonna say, obviously, since they're gonna go back, I think the next person voted off, I hate to say it, it's probably gonna be Yam Yam.
Yeah, I
I
think
hate
right
to
now
say
James
that.
is not in a great shape, and I'm
No.
gonna go out though. I'm gonna say somehow Carolyn and Jam Jam rebuild the connection. I don't think it's gonna. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna say Josh because I hope Josh. I don't want to see either of them go. So if it's
No,
them,
I hope Josh, but
I know. I'm
I
just
think
gonna.
it's gonna be him.
I'm trying to pray that that's the case. How about Soka? If one gets put
Soka,
out there,
if Soka goes, it's I was gonna say Jamie, but she might be smart enough to play her. Does she have 2 or 1? I forget.
Jamie has one. She thinks she has two.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She thinks she has 2. Hopefully, she plays the right one
I
if she were
imagine.
to. So, I think I would say Jamie, but I think because she might have the mindset too that like, "Oh, I'm new to this tribal, they might try to vote me off easily." She may use hers,
Yeah,
but who knows? I'm gonna have to say between Jamie
we got less than a
and
minute.
yeah, either Jamie or one of the Matt and Frannies.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna probably say Jamie too, and real fast for Rut two. Who do you got?
Route 2, Lauren. After that fail of getting the bag, and sending
I,
Brandon back out there.
I think Lauren as well. All right, real fast. Last thing I want to say. Hopefully we get this done. What do you think about the tribe swaps? I really liked it. How about you? Do you think it added a good
Oh,
twist?
it definitely made it interesting by far.
Sure.
It's a little spin.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all from us on the Fire and Flint podcast. We'll see you next week, Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully we get the full crew ready to go. Until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Peace. We are
Built better.
See you soon. Peace.